How's it going, everybody? I got some more magic for you today with a new Golgari Roots deck. I decided to build something pretty different from probably what you've seen before in any other Roots deck. I've got a couple of staples like the Fairy Dream Thief, Snarling Gorehound, obviously Insidious Roots because that's what the deck's built around. Tyvar is pretty common, the Jubilant Brawler, you'll see him in most Roots decks, but then things that I have changed or added or made my own here. I've got a couple of Sire of Seven Deaths. It is playable with all of the little plant tokens that you get from Insidious Roots, but primarily we just want to get this into the graveyard at some point. Very easy to do because we are playing Urborg Scavengers. Whenever Urborg Scavengers enters and attacks, exile target card from a graveyard, put a 1/1 counter on it, and it has flying as long as a card exiled this way has flying. The same is true for First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Haste, Hexproof, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Trample, and Vigilance. So, if you get Sire of Seven Deaths into the graveyard and then eat it with the Urborg Scavengers, then it immediately gets First Strike, Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, and Lifelink. So, a very good card to pair with this, which isn't terribly new. I said that as soon as I was doing my pack opening and saw the card, and I've seen a couple of decks running that, so that's nothing surprising. We do have Overlord of the Balemark, really good way to get things into the graveyard and immediately get them out as well, so just playing this can trigger your roots as well as long as you hit a creature or there's a creature in your graveyard already. We've got Unstoppable Slasher. This creature is such a nuisance and so hard to get rid of. As soon as it's killed the first time, it hits the graveyard and brings itself back out, which triggers Insidious Roots, so that's why I've got it in here. Similarly, Mosswood Dread Knight goes into the graveyard whenever it's killed, and then you can replay it for the adventure side to draw a card and lose a life, so that triggers Insidious Roots and you get the creature back. So those are more or less my changes, and then for the only kind of removal, if you even want to call it that in this deck, I'm playing with a new card called the Deadly Brew. I saw a different person, I don't remember who, had an Insidious Roots deck with this and thought it was a really good fit, so I put it in here. Each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker of their choice. If you sacrificed a permanent this way, you may return another permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So that can let you get back your Insidious Roots if you have milled it in some way. It can let you get a creature to trigger your Insidious Roots. It's very good for that. That's more or less the deck. Nothing crazy with the land. We've got a pretty standard package here. Restless Cottage can be used to get stuff out of your graveyard as well. I don't have a sideboard for this, though you could easily make one using things like Terra Sunder is one thing, Blot Out potentially, Duress, Liliana, lots of good options, but I'm going to be playing best of one with this, so no sideboard for this video. I'll go ahead and start getting into the games. I'm going to be going for 3 wins like I normally do, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Alright, opponent's going first. We got some pretty good looking land here at least. We actually do definitely want to draw that. Looks like the opponent is playing some form of Gruul Delirium, which is too bad, because that's a really fast deck to be playing up against, unfortunately. Our Urborg Scavengers may help a bit. Not much, though. Alright, so we're just not going to be... They're playing Jund, actually. We're not going to be allowed to do anything. Yeah, it's already just game over. Don't really have much choice here, have to declare blockers to survive at all. And I have to hard cast here to have a blocker. Let's get our scavenger back. Stopping his delirium's gonna matter. Lesha doesn't matter. Okay. I don't think we have any... We have one creature in our graveyard, so I'll go for that. Really need to get his, though, so I'm gonna go here despite that. We don't have any good looking options to go here for this, so I think I've just got to pass. If we could get this in the graveyard, then we would have a good opportunity to get lifelink. New Alesha, and a fear of missing out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can actually play the Sire of Seven Deaths next, which will be really helpful. Tyvar's super tempting, but I think we need this right now to survive. That was a totally pointless attack.
This will be quick. We're in this together.
Got one creature we can hit. I will take that. I'm gonna use the the Deadly Brew here and sacrifice this creature. I want my Urborg Scavengers. We're going to hit my own graveyard for my own Urborg Scavengers here, just so I can get another useful thing. I think we'll attack here as well. Let's go ahead and get the Mosswood. Got a little bit of life back, which is good. I'm going to go ahead and just play creature side and not worry about drawing a card. We actually stabilized really nicely here after all that. Alright, and then we just win here. Alright, so a really good win. You can see the absurdity of this. I was down to 1 life, and stabilized really nicely. I told you we would get to hardcast the Sire of 7 Deaths. It's not actually as difficult as it might seem, and I didn't even have to use any of these. That match just dragged on long enough. You got to see how the Unstoppable Slasher and Urborg Scavengers are very, very good with Insidious Roots. This deck synergizes really well. I've been enjoying it so far, and it's very different from the Roots decks that I'm used to seeing. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. That's our game 1. We'll see what else we run into. Okay, opponent's going first. This hand isn't fantastic, but I'll give it a try. It's like we're going up against what is going to be a very obnoxious Orzhov life gain deck. They're going to have a lot of advantage early on against us. I am going to be able to get the Unstoppable Slasher out, but it's not going to help us long term because it's probably going to die repeatedly. And if they're running exile spells, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. This could just be mono white. Leyline getting our roots sucks. Go ahead and play that, and then go for our Unstoppable Slasher. Oh, this is a Leyline. I thought it was the authority thingy. So actually, we're pretty okay here. I didn't realize my creatures weren't going to be entering tapped. This doesn't have first strike, right? So why would I not block it? Okay, we've got 3 land now. I think I'm gonna go here. We don't have anything in our graveyard at the moment, so let's use Tyvar. Hopefully hit something.
We'll talk about this fight for centuries.
We did not. That's sad. Alright. We did at least get stuff into the graveyard that we can start hitting with Urborg Scavengers, though. Interesting. If I was him, I probably would have tried attacking Tyvar, but... Go ahead and go here. I'm going to use my Urborg Scavengers to get us an extra token. Let's go ahead and do a Deadly Brew. Do I have any creatures? I don't, so I actually want to go with this, unfortunately. Okay, so we're looking pretty okay here. Sire of 7 Deaths is probably coming out next turn. Sheltered by Ghost doesn't actually do much here. Probably a good target for that, though. His stuff's getting really big somehow. I don't understand what's making them all so big. I mean, if he really just wants to hit Tyvar, that's fine with me. Okay, we're gonna go here. I do think this is just entirely necessary right now. And then we're gonna go here. It'll let me get a creature if there is a creature, which there are now. So we've got plenty of blockers now. Sadly, we are losing that scavenger, but that's not that big a deal. I guess it must be this ley line pumping everything. Yeah, giving it +2/+2 because his health total's so high. This still doesn't have first strike, right? Yeah. So I'll happily make that trade. Mine does have first strike, so I didn't lose anything either, which is pretty funny. Get that scavenger. See if we can't make some damage here. Okay, we're losing our cottage. Not a big deal at all. He might be at 55, but this is still significant damage. There's no reason to double block my cottage. Those are very big and he should be paying attention to those tokens quite a bit more. So that got me some nice life right off. Down to 17, and then he's going to lose half his life total to my slasher. My slasher comes back, and I get double tokens again. And his one remaining creature isn't big enough to attack. Nice. So, if you wanted a showcase of how absolutely ridiculous this deck is, this was certainly it. Let's see, the biggest tokens, I don't even know. I've got a 10-11, an 11-12, a 12-13, a 13-14. This Sire of Seven Deaths is fantastic in this deck. I forgot even that it had first strike. I was totally happy with trading it in that last encounter with the Knight Errant, because I was just going to eat it with my Urborg Scavengers anyway, but this was so good, so much better. I was out of juice in my graveyard, so I wasn't going to be getting anything else in there, but the Unstoppable Slasher is a fantastic way to load your graveyard. So that thing blinking itself in and out as much as it does is the best way to trigger these that I have found. Anyway, let's see what Game 3 brings. Alright, opponent goes first. We got an okay looking hand here, I'll give it a try. Hopefully we draw land. Still hoping we draw land, because we need a third for most of the deck. Okay, we're playing up against what will be a Reanimator deck on our opponent as well. We're not necessarily a Reanimator deck, but doing something vaguely similar. He's got Heir Apparent, which is interesting. He'll probably play Return from the Past or something like that. Yep, and that's exactly what he went to grab, Raise the Past. I do think I want the land, actually. I really need a Roots at this point. So he's definitely loaded his graveyard nicely for a Raise the Past when he can do it. I should try... I'm gonna eat some of his rabbits out of the graveyard, I think, is gonna be my best option here. Probably should have started there, in fact. Don't need another Gorehound. We're okay to attack. Now would probably be Raise the Past if he has a 4th land, which he does not. So I am absolutely going to eat more of his land. Let's get this out on the battlefield. Don't need a Dream Thief. Just really want to eat more of his rabbits right now. Opponent is at 5. Found a 4th land, but it's tapped. Alright, another easy win. Our opponent was definitely trying to combo Raise the Past with Heir Apparents. He still had 4 in the graveyard, even with the 2 that I ate. So, kind of crazy there. But Urborg Scavengers is really good at affecting your opponent's graveyard too, and since we hadn't found our Insidious Roots yet, that was totally a viable strategy. I was probably going to start digging with my Mosswood Dread Knight soon to try and get more cards flowing. Tyvar's not bad either, but yeah, really had to just start eating these Heir Apparents before he could go crazy with them and Impact Trimmers and Raise the Past. He was going to get 3 when he finally got to cast Raise the Past, probably, unless I got another Scavenger. But anyway, there's the 3 games, very different matches, and some really crazy outcomes there. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was a really fun build.